Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, empowerment coach, and Reiki master. And I'm here today, Tuesday, June 8th, with this week's Pick Your Angel card reading. These readings are designed to help you throughout your week, to help you be a conscious co-creator, to be aware of your participation and your power here on this planet to live the life that you want to live. And oftentimes, we'll think things are happening to us, and what they are experiences or situations or dynamics within relationships that offer us opportunities to make conscious choices and to look at whether those choices are serving our greatest good, or if for some reason they may be serving a different agenda. And when I say different agenda, I mean sometimes we take actions and we make our decisions based on obligation. And oftentimes that can be a slippery slope. So these readings are here for you to feel empowered, to feel that you have a conversation with your team. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want to give you a little idea of how I think it's best to ask your question. Rather than phrasing what will happen to me or what's going to happen, I feel like the most powerful way to address is to say, how can I best serve the situation, the relationship, the shift I want to call forth, or whatever the circumstances are. So take a minute before you decide to pick your spread, and just take a minute to take a deep breath, feel that connection to spirit, ask your question, and then move forward. All right, so let's start with angel reading number 1. In our foundational position, we have the angel Merlina and the goblin. In the opportunity and or the obstacle, we have the angel Caressa and the truth card. In the angel's advice, we have the angel Azure and the hawk. And in the final position, we have the angel Layla and the wind fairy. For those of you that picked angel reading number 1, I want to also let you know that we have a solar eclipse in Gemini this week on the 10th. It may be the 11th if you're in another hemisphere. I'm in the United States. The reason I bring this up is because eclipses bring in fated events, and they don't bring in fated events for every human being, but oftentimes they will bring in situations that we have been inadvertently co-creating. And so for those of you that picked angel reading number 1, we have the goblin and we have Merlin. And the goblin talks about the wounded human ego. It talks about feeling obviously cranky, not happy about something. And then there's Merlina. Merlina is an angel that represents confusion, needing to do more research, needing to consult with an expert. And in this particular situation, I think that expert may be your oversoul. It may be God and the angels, because I think the ego here is really representing where I'm edging God out. And I want to go back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video, where I feel like we are all co-creators in this world. We co-create not just in our actions, but in our perceptions and in our willingness to address where our focus is. What are we focusing on? So when I look at Merlina and the ego, you may be absolutely right. You may be doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You may be crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and being a very dutiful person. And yet at the same time, this is not serving you. And it's not about duty. It's about how you're feeling about it as you're walking into the situation. If there's a feeling of obligation, burden, a heaviness to the dynamic, whether it's work, relationship, whatever relationship, friendship relationship, sibling relationship, parent to child relationship, lover to lover relationship, because I think at this point, it's time for you to address a deeper truth. And the truth is not necessarily horrible. because Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness follows the end of this chapter. And the angels are here to guide you and comfort you as you walk through this chapter. And I think this chapter is a deeper truth. So here we have this eclipse in Gemini. And Gemini represents many things. It represents our everyday activities, the roadways we travel, going to and fro work, to our schools. It represents our siblings. It represents how we think, what we speak, what we observe, what we watch on television. It really it represents education, school age education. And I say this because when I go back to Merlina, talking about your ego being hurt, being misrepresented in some way. And when I go to Merlina, I think that this is really a perception of looking outside of yourself and the obligations. And now the deeper truth is, do those obligations and is that dutiful behavior truly serving you? Or is it time to end that chapter? Because Azure in the angel's advice is saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. And there's the hawk. The hawk represents omens and signs and messages from above, meaning the angels, God and the angels. But both of these characters on these cards are taking flight. And I think that this is for those of you that picked angel reading number 1. It's to stop asking yourself the how will it happen, and trying to figure out what actions you need to take. This is more in alignment to a deeper truth of how it would feel when you're experiencing your ego in balance, or the obligations are no longer tethered to you, that you feel like you have more choice. Because in this final position, we have the wind fairy, which represents my thoughts, my focus, my analysis of a situation, my observations. And here's Layla. Layla talks about my intentions, talks about my dreams and desires, and connecting with spirit. For those of you that picked angel reading number 1, I believe that this week and the months to come are going to illuminate dynamics within your life that you may have outgrown, are no longer really serving your highest and greatest good, your happiness, what you want to experience on this planet. And as you recognize where you have purported behaviors or perceptions or perspectives of obligation and duty, that may come to a halt. I believe it actually will come to a halt. It's very much in alignment with many things this year that are going to dissolve in order to be rebuilt. So I would offer you this for this week. Very much do your best to be gentle with your ego. Don't try to exterminate it. Don't think of it as the enemy, but rather the harbor of both your fears and your triumphs. Because as you walk through a fear, as you achieve through doubt and through trepidation, you feel empowered, you feel exhilarated, you feel inspired, and you want to continue on. And the journey up and down becomes more fun than it was when you were just sitting in a dutiful, obligated, no fun situation, relationship, job, whatever the dynamic is. So I think this is a week where it's really about fleshing out the truth of your heart, what you really want, and being very mindful of not trying to figure out the how of it, but rather how it will feel once these elements are in play. All right, let's go on to angel reading number 2. In our foundational position, we have Crystal, the angel Crystal, and the burden card in the foundational position. In the opportunity and or the obstacle, we have the King and Mystique. In the angel's advice, we have Athena and Merlin. And then in the final position, we have the disruption card and the patience card. Okay, for those of you that picked angel reading number 2, Crystal says, have faith and hope there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And this may be a burden for you, if not an absolute burden. And there may be a growing frustration. We have other dynamics going on this week that are contributing to a feeling of angst, as well as a feeling of annoyance and maybe a little bit of anger within it. It's almost as if, we're being held back from moving forward. And I don't think that we're being held back in a way that is not serving us. So as you sit and you really contemplate, does it serve me to focus in on worrying about what I don't know? Or am I better served having faith that the universe is moving things around, conspiring to create a better dynamic for me? Because these eclipses have a 6-month influence, and not everything happens on the day of the eclipse. It can unfold throughout the months ahead. And there are many, many, many astrological dynamics that are supporting a breaking down of old oppressive, depressive, and oppressive situations and dynamics, all the way from government and outside authority to within our own lives, our own neighborhoods, our own communities, and within our own families. Because those of you that picked angel reading number 2, I don't think the king represents a man right now. I think it represents justice. It represents balance. It represents things of the legal nature. So now Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions, because it's the time for justice, for fairness, for these chapters, one chapter to end and a whole new chapter of more excitement, more achievement, more fun, more vitality within your life. Because in the angel's advice is Athena saying it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself, and you know what you want. And Merlin is again about justice, about balance, but it's about alchemy. And it's a process that's a bit pressurized, because the pressure comes from the unknowing. I am an entrepreneur, and most entrepreneurs will attest to that. Most of your life is an unknowing place. You're not guaranteed a paycheck. You're not guaranteed a client. So this is a momentum of continuing to trust that what you are purporting is fair, just, and now it is time for you to reap rewards, because the patience card representing the angel patience is about observation of your own energies. And the disruption card is in direct relation to the burden card. I believe, for those of you that picked angel reading number 2, that the burden of the unknowing will be disrupted as you become more aware of your focus, more aware if you're sitting in a space of worry, of trepidation, of running all the scenarios where you fail, you don't succeed, you don't pay your bills. And then as you shift that focus into, well, what if the universe is moving something around I can't see? What if I walk into the store tomorrow and buy a lottery ticket and win $500,000? There are as many good things or positive things or story moving forward dynamics that can come into play as there are things that can rip the rug out from underneath you. And those of you that picked angel reading number 2, your opportunity this week is to step into that vibration of achievement, of the universe working and conspiring for your highest and greatest good. And if indeed something that you feel has been a sense of security, and at the same time you felt it as a burden, my last job provided a paycheck. And yet every day I felt burdened and I felt oppressed by that job. So I'm not telling you to quit your jobs. This spread feels like it's an opportunity to delineate between where you have been purporting behaviors that give you a false sense of security, and where you can move into a dynamic where your focus and your willingness to sit in the unknown and yet have a strong intention for what you want to experience allows the universe to kick in the laws of attraction. And then your willingness to allow that in, as a certain amount of disruption must take place. The disruption is moving out what you don't like, but feel secure. So you kind of have to decide what's most important, because there's usually not a place where you have that thing you don't love, and then suddenly something comes in that is 100% different that you do love, because there's a vibrational alignment. So there's a part of you that will have to be brave this week and in the coming months as you agree to sit in the unknown of trusting that your oversoul and your life path has put in markers for you to experience things at such a high level that right now you can't quite comprehend it. You can't quite wrap your mind around it. But your willingness to sit in this middle space allows the universe to bring you experiences that confirm that and then give you a feeling of security as you move forward. All right, let's go on to angel reading number 3. In the foundational position, we have Teresa and the Wasp. In the opportunity and or the obstacle, we have Ray and the transformational death card. In the angel's advice, we have Rosetta and the movement card. And in the final position, we have the serpent and Bethany. Okay. In addition to the eclipse that's happening this week and Saturn squaring Uranus, which is a theme for 2021, and I've talked about it in some of my other videos, so I'm not going to bring it up here, but we also have had an opposition between Mars and Pluto. Mars is in Cancer, and I believe it's still there. And it is in opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. This is a very tense, angry, frustrated energy. Pluto represents death and rebirth, and Mars wants to just move forward. Mars has been in Cancer, basically trying to swim underwater, which is just creating this steamy feeling of that, when you take fire and you put water on it, it creates steam. And I say all this because for those of you that picked angel reading number 3, this is a week where a lot of illuminations may come. We have Mercury retrograde. It is squaring Neptune. Again, another murky communications. Information can come to the surface that might have been, let's just say, the type of thing, lies of omission. It's like nobody's outright lying, but they're not actually telling the whole story or the whole truth, or the whole truth is not being revealed. Because somewhere in community, because Teresa to me is a card of worrying about other people, other situations, and here's the Wasp. This is a very challenging, angry energy. And I feel like whatever illuminations come this week, if for some reason you find yourself in those lower energies of feeling betrayed, feeling jealous, feeling angry in some way, there is an illumination to be had for you. And I feel like it is your opportunity to really connect with spirit and ask yourself if what you're angry about is something that you want to continue on with. I think you may be angry about something that you wanted to leave behind or to have a chapter ending in the first place. And this just may be the dynamic that allows for that if it's been an obligated situation, if it's been a situation where you felt like I have to go to work, or I have to be in this relationship with this person, or I have to deal with my siblings. Gemini rules siblings. There's an opportunity to transform that. And in order to do that, this is not a physical death. This is a willingness to see where your pissed offness, where your anger, where your frustration in the situation has been keeping it alive. Because now is a time to really move forward. And I say that because Rosetta represents children. It represents, this is funny because Gemini represents school-age young children and guiding and teaching. But in the angel's advice, this is about opting of an attitude of that and allowing this joyous sort of naive energy to move you out of what has felt so challenging. Because for those of you that picked angel reading number 3, it's time to take care of you. It's time to take care of what's important to you and to allow for this skin to shed. Recently, I've been I was re-engaged in a relationship that is riddled with obligation and DNA. And it's like putting a square peg into a round hole. I can't express myself. I can't express any frustration. And I found myself just feeling like I was in a washing machine. And I just decided not to move forward. I didn't yell at anybody. I didn't take action or say that I was angry or hurt. I just knew that if I continued to go into this dynamic and give up my power over and over again and allow myself to feel muted, not be able to express myself, that it was going to erode me and continue to just make me angry. So rather than going in and trying to confront the situation, I just let it lie. And in letting it lie, there was a revelation to be had. So I want to offer that for you. In letting some situation that's been very stingy and very maybe unfair, and it may be someone who's angry at you, let it lie for a minute. Because as you do, the connection to spirit will reveal a way to transform it. It's going to take you being a child of spirit in this moment to reveal that movement, because it will be focused on taking care of yourself. And you may feel uncomfortable and unsure that you should put yourself ahead of the situation or ahead of the dynamic. But if you don't put the mask on yourself, meaning this is the airplane reference, you can't save the baby. So take care of you and allow this solar new moon eclipse to usher in new energies, new chapters, and new happiness. All right, guys, that's it for me for this week. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is in the description below. Please remember to hit that subscription button, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be up to date with all the videos that I'm producing, and share and comment. Thank you so much. I will be back soon. I'm hoping to do a series to explain to you all a little bit more about some of the mechanics of astrology. And I'm excited about that. So I'll see you again soon. Have a wonderful week. Happy solar eclipse in Gemini, and take care.